So welcome to the podcast. For those of you who are going to be tuning in, I'm with Forrest Dawkins today, and we have kind of followed each other somewhat online. We met through contagious disciple making. So both of us are businessmen, but we're also interested in expanding the kingdom of God and trying to do that in the most effective biblical way possible. So that's where we initially met, but come to find that we both seem to have an affinity for business as well as for fitness. So today, going to be talking a little bit about supplements, but also just getting to know Forrest a little bit, hearing about your background, your family, your business, and give you a chance to talk about some of the cool stuff that you do, like 75 Hard. So that's some really, really cool stuff. And again, we've kind of seen each other post a bunch of stuff on social media. We talk quite a bit about content creation here on the podcast. So I'll probably learn some things from Forrest while we're at it here. But just to kind of kick things off, Forrest, why don't you tell me a little bit about where you are from originally, how you grew up, how you got interested in fitness, and what's brought you to where you're at today.
Well, thank you so much. I'm really honored to be on this podcast. So thank you very much for inviting me. And I'm just really excited to grow in our relationship. I am from Iowa.
Okay,
Born and raised.
Okay.
I was born in Story City, Iowa, to start my story off, and lived here most of my life in Cedar Falls, Iowa. But I've lived overseas. I've done a lot of interesting, fun stuff, I think. And I have 5 kids, and I've been married for 13 years now, and love that. Thank you. I got interested in fitness because I was not fit is the big thing for me, right? Yeah. So I was involved in sports a little bit when I was in junior high, and then in high school I started working, and then just never really did much, and then slowly gained weight over the last 20 years. Got the freshman 15 in college, and then I was actually I joined on staff with the Navigators, which is a campus ministry organization, and you do a lot of pizza parties and stuff like that in ministry. So the weight just kept climbing up until at my heaviest, I was 260 pounds. And so that is not healthy for me. And even if I was solid muscle, I don't know if I could reach 260 pounds. But anyway, my story is when I really started focusing on my health. I'm not bad mouthing my wife, but she was like, "You're snoring a lot," she said. And she just I realized, wait a second, what am I doing? And what am I passing on to my kids? Is really what struck me. And so then I reached out to a coach and lost 50 pounds. And I posted a few weeks ago. I think I'm the strongest I've been ever in my life, and the healthiest I've been. And I want to say that when I'm 42.
Okay.
And when I turn 52, I want to be even stronger and healthier than I was when I was 42. And I think that's totally possible, totally doable.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the quick story.
Very cool. Very cool. So what are some things that you like to do now, fitness wise? So when you're training, exercising, what kind of realm are you in? A sport or a discipline or circuit training, or what do you like to do?
I think most people should be walking.
Okay.
Like doing some kind of walking. And that is because I think God made us to walk, and you hear a lot about walking in the Bible, but that's not exactly it. But it's a great starting point, and
Hmm.
If you're not into like running and jogging, things like that, um, most people don't realize this, but if you walk the same distance you run, you burn the same amount of calories. You just do it slower.
Right.
and and so so some people think, oh, I have to do these hard things
Hmm.
to be healthy, and no, the hardest part is just being consistent, really. And
Hmm.
I think you can attest to that, is
Yeah.
being consistent, getting out there and walking. And so I walk most mornings. I get up about 5 and just walk and listen to the Bible. So I'm
Mm.
stacking those disciplines.
Sure.
And um, there is a peace at 5 a.m. walking. There is
I'll bet.
sometimes I'll run into a few people, but and then if it's clear right now, you see the stars and it's just
Hmm.
beautiful. Otherwise, I like to lift, but I don't like going to the gym. So I bought something called the X3 bar. Highly recommend it. It's resistant band training, and so I
Okay.
can do um, what I tell people is I can do deadlifts in my house without spending thousands of dollars of having equipment out of my
Yeah.
house. So
Or being in
yeah,
danger of denting up the floor.
denting up the floor, and it's much gentler on your joints.
Mm.
And yeah, if you drop the bar on you, it'll hurt, but it won't, disfigure you. And then
Right.
um the thing I'm sold on resistant training is that with resistant training, um you maximize your lift on every point of the lift, right?
Hmm.
So when you're weakest, like when you're doing a chest press, you're weakest at the closest you are.
Right.
But guess what? The band is lightest when it's closest to you. And as you push out, you're lifting heavier and heavier. And so
Right.
technically you can lift heavier with bands than you can with weights.
Mm-hmm.
So because it just goes with your muscles and
Gotcha.
how the power is and the levers of your joints and stuff work. So highly recommend it. Check it out, X3 bar. Totally
X3
worth it.
bar. I got it written
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Very cool. So what was the coaching process like that you were a part of?
Yeah. So the coaching process is so I am a coach now, and
Okay.
it's an independent coach with a company called Optavia. And the what you get is a coach who will coach you through the program. You have they have a Facebook group with recipes and encouragement. Just it's fun to check on where people are, things like that. And then you have the education component. They give you education and what's called a life book, and you're just journaling in there and reading and educating yourself, and then practicing what you're learning. And then we have a nutritional component, which is called the fuelings. And the fuelings are tasty little morsels that you eat every 2 to 3 hours. So you're eating 6 times a day. And so just keeping your metabolism ramped up so you get what we call fat burn. And the fuelings are great because some of them like taste like a candy bar or something like that, but
Uh-huh.
it's lower sugar. And then you have um, then there's like webinars, things like that. So you've got the accountability of the coach who's going to walk you through. You got the education. You got the um, all the people in the just having others on the journey with you in the Facebook group, and then you have the fueling components, which make it easy and tasty. And so when people follow the program, it works. It's
Okay.
yeah, I've lost 50 pounds, and um, I've seen my favorite client, personal client stories. I mean, I see people who are just who want to look better and be
Hmm.
stronger, things like that, and they do well. But then there's sick people, and what's
Hmm.
exciting is the sick people, they get
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
So my dad was on a CPAP machine. He's off.
Nice.
Back pain, knee pain gone. What else do we got? My coach, she had kidney disease, and she needed a transplant, or the doctor's like, you're going to die.
Mm.
And in like 2 months, she had normal kidney function.
And
So
end up needing a transplant.
no transplant needed, living
Wow.
life really well now. So the big thing is, I mean, for most people, most disease is inflammation, poor diet, and can be reversed. Not always,
Sure.
but oftentimes it can be reversed. And are you willing to do what it takes to do that? So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
A lot of preventable stuff out there for sure.
Yes, yeah. Not all of it is. Yeah. So there's
Right.
genetic things
Oh,
but
sure.
even then, supposedly, type 2 diabetes isn't reversible, but I think it is. So um, I've seen people do it, and um, yeah. So
That's cool. So are the fuelings, are those products that Optavia manufactures, produces, and you buy from them?
yep,
Okay, cool.
yeah, yeah. The client buys it directly,
Gotcha.
and then it's sent to their home. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, there's shakes, there's tasty bars. There's my favorite is the brownie,
Hmm.
um, and yeah, there's even like macaroni and cheese, things like that. So what I've found in
Hmm.
health is, when you're trying to eat healthier, sometimes you just need something that'll do.
Yeah.
So um, so I eat the cauliflower rice stuff.
Hmm.
Um, and so if you're looking to cut carbs and increase vegetables, I think that's a great way to go. It
Hmm.
doesn't, sure, it's not rice, but it'll do. And then
Yeah.
so cauliflower rice. So anything you would eat rice with, you would just put that in. And so my
Hmm.
quick one of my favorite dishes to make is just when I'm in a hurry, is just grab some cauliflower rice, some like pre-grilled chicken, and then some hot sauce or salsa or something. And then
Yeah.
boom, you got a low calorie, you got your veggies, you got your protein, and a little zest, and it's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a big thing too. I think when it comes to dieting, particularly, um, and maybe it's just me, but I think about people trying to figure out how to eat better, eat healthier. It's just there's so many different things, and there's so many different possibilities. I could eat this, I could eat that, I could eat this combination of that, or I could change one or two things and it'd be a completely different combination. Being able to take some of that guesswork out for people and just like, here is a meal plan, and you might not be as excited about it right off the bat, but
Yeah.
here's what you eat at this time of day and for these days of the week. I think that's really helpful. I think some people maybe get a little bit intimidated when they think about the exercise component too. But if you can simple it down to, hey, if nothing else, just walk. just
Yes. Yeah.
just go walk every day and finding something that you can be consistent on. That's really big. That's really huge.
Yeah.
So how long have you been a coach yourself?
I've been a coach for about 2 years now.
Okay. When did you think about, or what factored into making that decision to transition from, I'm going to be a participant in this program, to
Yeah.
now I think I've got what it takes to go and coach people?
Yeah. Well, the program is set up to be easily transferable. It's like
Mm.
discipleship, right?
Yeah.
You should, if you follow what the guides they give you, that sort of things, and then you have a mentor. So my coach is my mentor coach, and so when I have questions, I'm like, oh, this client said this, what do I say? I have no idea. They're like, oh, here's what you do, or here's where you get this information, and then they help. And so I realized, one, I enjoy learning about these sorts of things,
Hmm.
but two, it part of it is accountability. If you're going to be living a life
Hmm.
and saying, hey, come with me, and then you're not doing it,
Mm.
like, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And so, I see you on social media living that life that you're encouraging other people to
Mm.
do.
Mm.
Like, whether maybe it's not long distance running, but maybe it's like, wow, like, I can I want to be more like Mark. He's consistently showing up every day. He's posting his times. Um,
Hmm.
you know, so inspiring people. And when you're living an inspiring life, like
Hmm.
that is a good life to live,
Well, thank you.
right? Right,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's fun. I mean, sometimes it seems like it's just a simple, goofy post. Take a selfie, take a picture of my watch. But then I hear people say what it means to them when or how they interpret it when they see that. And somebody sees something that's inspiring is a word that I hear from time to time, but just consistency, and it just kind of helps reaffirm, like, yeah, that's all I'm trying to do, is
Yeah,
just show what consistency looks like. And like, this is what I did. It's not what everybody has to do. Some people are going to be like, that's all you did. Some people are going to be like, oh, I could never do that. But the important thing is to find what you can be consistent in. And so the person who starts walking every single day and is consistent in that, especially when they hadn't done that before, to me, that's
yes,
much harder than doing what I do, which is in my wheelhouse. It's in my comfort zone. Like, it's something that I've done for years. It's not a huge change or shift for me to do that. But for somebody to go from, you know, 0 to 5, rather than doing, 8 every day, is much harder.
yeah.
If they've already been doing 8 every day for a long, long time. So yeah, that's great stuff. So how is that been going for you so far with coaching? Obviously, you're learning a lot,
Yeah.
um, but was that primarily, this has done a lot for me. I want this to help other people. There's some financial need or incentive that, recognizing the importance of owning my own business, financial, freedom, being able to utilize resources for the kingdom. Is it just kind of a combination of all those things, or was there something that was at least initially more predominant in that decision?
Yeah, so I actually have some life coaching experience also. I got some Christian life coaching classes, things like that. So the idea of coaching was already on my mind. And
Mm-hmm.
then this came in, and um, I liked learning before I got healthy. I spent time learning about it. It's just
Right.
you know, engaging in it. It is, yes. I tell people, if all it took was knowledge, we'd all have six-pack abs and we'd be millionaires, right?
Yes.
We
Yes.
we all have the knowledge is there. Um, you can say any diet works. I mean, it's just the consistency and the implementation of it, and
Mm-hmm.
and so for me, if I'm not accountable, I'm not going to do it usually
Mm-hmm.
with enough regularity at least. And so um, let me see if I'm answering your question. So then, yeah, part of it is financial. Like, well, one, I love it. I like it. I like helping people. I like seeing their lives change. It's incredibly, yeah, it's like amazing to see when, yeah. I mean, for me, so after I started the program, within 2 weeks, I stopped snoring. Um, it was just like I stopped snoring, and then I remember one day, the first day I could tie my shoes without holding my breath. I was like, wow, oh, I'm not holding my breath. I didn't even realize I held my breath until I
Huh.
was tying my shoes and I wasn't holding my breath.
Wow.
Um, so, and then, yeah, seeing other people's lives changed, getting healthy. I had one client who had just was constantly inflamed and was, scratching
Mm.
herself because she just was itchy. And then when she was on program, that went away. She took tons of sleep medication to get to sleep, stopped taking the sleep medication. So when you're like, that's amazing when people tell you that that happens. That's like added life,
Mm.
I think, And so, yeah, when you can walk around without your knees hurting, added life, right? Like
Yeah.
they're going to do more things in their life. And then, yeah, the financial aspect part, of course, is I need to support my family.
Yeah.
I'm in full-time ministry right now, and so
Hmm.
having just extra income is really helpful.
Yeah. For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. What is your ministry position?
So I work with my church, and they help me to go on campus at my local university to
Okay.
reach international students.
Okay. So
So so
that's
we
a hired church position that your church.
no, well, they are like my sending church, but no, I raise
Okay.
money to do it,
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
and yeah, so yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So what with transition a little bit. So you already have a lot of your nutrition kind of covered with Optavia.
Mhm.
What is behind some of your current interest in supplements?
Well, I'm always interested in supplements because, like, how do you get tasty protein and things like that, right?
Okay.
Actually, one I I want to share with you one that's very interesting that I've used in the past. It's called Fortigen, and it is an
How do you spell
amino
that?
acid. Um, Fortagen. I think it's with the guy who created the X3 bar. So
Oh,
you can
okay.
find it at x3bar.com. It is an amino acid um, supplement that
Okay.
is supposedly like, I don't know, like 9 times more usable than regular protein.
Oh, okay.
So so your body uses the amino acids to build the protein, and
Right.
it's much more effective than like taking whey protein and then
Hmm.
breaking that down and then rebuilding it into the protein that the body needs. So it's like whey
Yeah.
protein is, I can't remember the percentages, so I don't want to say it. But like most protein, it's very low percentage that your body actually uses. It just will
Hmm.
break it down. Um, so very interesting. I can get you some statistics on that, but um, what is interesting is usually animal protein is the best if you're trying to grow muscles.
Yeah.
Um, egg protein is the best for usability,
Yep.
and then yeah, like beef, and
Hmm.
and then you can go on down from there. So, but Fortigen is really cool. One of the guys on the X3 bar forum, he fasted for, I want to say 5 days, 5 to 7 days. I can't remember what it was, but he was taking like 4 doses of Fortigen a day, and he
Sure.
gained 3 pounds. That's just
Just taking amino
insane.
acids.
Just taking amino acids. And I've heard of other amino acids. There was Omino. I don't know if you've heard of Omino. It's it's like OH exclamation point Mino, and they have a similar claim. Like they did some testing with NASA, and
Hmm.
the some people took the amino acid supplement and others didn't, and then they didn't exercise. They like just sat in, like they just sat for a month. I don't know how you can get people to do that, but in space you're wasting away, right?
Sure.
It's hard to
Yeah.
keep muscles. What they found is that the people that didn't do anything and but took the amino acids, they increased muscle mass compared
Wow.
to the others who they lost. So
Hmm.
so there is something with some supplements. Some supplements, they're just gimmicky, and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I've been on amino acids for years. Recently used the excess amino acids since that's the company that I'm with. But
Mhm.
the cool thing about amino acids is that they are just so readily digested and absorbed into the
Yep.
bloodstream quickly, which is why I use them in and around workouts. The whey protein will have a more complete profile in terms of fats and carbs and stuff like that.
Yep.
At least if you do whey concentrate. Whey isolate takes out a lot of the fats and the sugars. So somebody who's lactose intolerant can take a whey isolate and usually be okay
Okay.
in that regard. But yeah, you do have to digest and break down the proteins into amino acids so that they can then be put back together and built up. So I do both. I take whey
Yeah.
protein and I take amino acids just so that there's um, there's a quick absorption of amino acids, I can start doing their thing right away, and then some stuff later. I learned somewhat recently that eggs, they take a while to digest. Like they're one of the slowest digesting proteins. So I took when the first time I did a Tough Mudder back in 2012. I knew I wanted some protein in me to be some longer sustaining fuel. And so this is, couple hours, before the race. I had a couple hard boiled eggs and, banana or bagel or something else like that. And I was still feeling those eggs like during the race. And it's like,
Yeah.
man, I thought I ate those eggs plenty long ago. So I learned from that, before a race, no, I don't want eggs, but after a race, after a workout, that's a great time to have eggs. They can start doing their thing now, and they'll continue to be doing their thing for a while. So eggs after, not before. That's
Yeah.
one thing that I learned.
I've been trying to eat. I was eating liver pretty regularly for a while,
Mhm.
and that stuff. Like if you're trying to get lean and lose weight, liver. Wow, like
Really?
it it. I don't enjoy eating liver, so I'm not going to pretend to be some kind of saint here.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the days I ate liver, I just I just felt better. My hunger level was not as high,
Hmm.
and so it was just easier just to yeah, just I didn't have to watch what I was eating. I just didn't want to eat as much.
Mhm.
So highly recommend that. Um, my parents had a freeze dryer, and so my mom freeze dried a bunch of liver,
Ugh.
cow liver for me. So I'll grind it up and put it into tablets and take those too sometimes.
Okay.
So yeah, but liver, I'm telling you, there's something there.
Yeah, I've learning about the benefits of organ meats the past year or so. And whenever I hear it, like, oh man, those sound like some really good benefits, but do I really want to go that route?
Well, I recently just for fun bought for my birthday. So my birthday was August 25th, and
Mhm.
I decided I was going to get. There's this thing called a steak shake, and it's a blend, and it has whey protein, egg protein, beef protein. Um, I think that might be the three major ones, and then it has liver,
Mhm.
kidney, all these things mixed in,
Yeah.
and it is a really good tasting shake. And so I'm really shocked. I don't know how they did that. They must not have that much liver because my goodness, I don't know how you can hide liver, but it's really good.
Yeah.
I love the idea of just like mixing all of that up and
Sure.
putting it
Sure.
in. So, but it does taste good,
That's
and
good.
so,
Yeah. Very cool. So what kind of supplements are you currently looking to learn about? Amino acids, any others?
um, I yeah. So when I contacted you, I just knew you were into using amino acids, or yeah, I knew amino acids, but I wanted to know like all the ones that you used for like recovery and things like that. I was
Okay,
just really curious.
for recovery. So
Yeah.
yeah, so let me just kind of go down my typical day in terms of supplement usage and see if anything is helpful for you there. So in the morning, I'll get up, pray, read for a while, and then I'll have my kind of pre-workout shake with me while I'm doing that. So I have a pre-workout in there which has um, rhodiola. Not sure if you're familiar with rhodiola or not.
I've heard of it, but I don't know what it does.
Yeah, so it's a plant that grows in some harsh conditions, like Siberia and things like that. The Soviets used it. I mean, the Chinese have been using it for a long, long time, but the Soviets were using it with some of their military programs because of the ability to help with recovery, help with the body's adaptability to both mental and physical stress. So it, as you're challenging your body, it bounces back faster, but it also helps with focus as well. So it's not just a shot of energy where like I have energy to go and expend. There's a responsiveness to mental and physical stimuli, and your body and mind just bounce back or respond to it or adapt to those faster. That's kind of the nutshell version of it. So it's got rhodiola in there, beta alanine, which I didn't even know they were like beta amino acids. So we think about like I think it's 22 essential and non-essential amino acids. There's like these beta amino acids also. So beta alanine combines with one amino acid called histidine, which is I think it's one of the essential amino acids, to form a compound called carnosine, which is stored in the muscles. And so when you are expending energy in your muscles, and you've got the ATP, are you familiar with the ATP cycle?
Yes.
And so there's
junior high chemistry right here.
Oh, you learned about that in junior high? I didn't learn about ATP until I was like a freshman in college.
Oh,
Anyway.
adenosine triphosphate. Yeah, man.
Exactly.
I never forgot it.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure it was either freshman or junior high, and for some reason it just stuck with me.
Huh. I didn't even learn about that until I did a paper about creatine in a college class. And I learned about adenosine triphosphate and creatine's role in the ATP cycle. But anyway, as your body is burning ATP, there's a release of hydrogen ions, and that creates an acidity in the muscles. So carnosine in the muscles helps to buffer against that acidity from those hydrogen ions, which I have to keep checking myself, because I used to think it was lactic acid. Like I said, when you say, oh, the lactic acid buildup, like, no, it's lactate, and hence your lactate threshold, which is not the same thing as lactic acid, but it's understandable why people think that, because there is an acidity, the pH level does go up, but it's not like lactic acid. That's like from milk. So anyway, so it's got a couple of those things. It's got some other natural ingredients in there. I'm trying to remember, like what is it? It's like a shishwa berry or something like that. I can't remember. I'd have to pull up the label again and look at it. So it's got a bunch of other stuff like that in my pre-workout. Some caffeine from guarana seed and coffee bean extract, but not like a ton. It's not a lot of sugar. So I like it because of the natural ingredients, and I've noticed a difference, especially when I do my faster runs, that I'm able to push a little bit harder for a little bit longer because of those components. So I got that, and I do a scoop or a half a scoop of amino acids. So I do that beforehand, do a workout, and then afterward I'll do at least another half scoop of amino acids with an XS Sports twist tube. So it's in a concentrate form. You twist off the top and you squirt it into however much water you want, depending on how concentrated do you want it. Do you want it more watered down, or is it too strong? You want to add more water. And it's got some of your electrolytes, potassium and sodium, but it's also got selenium and some B vitamins in there as well to help with that replenishment of energy and recovery. I take multivitamin every day, omega 3s, concentrated fruits and vegetables, just to help me set a good baseline and standard for the day. I mean, I still try to eat as much fruits and vegetables as I can, but it just gives me a little peace of mind if I'm not able to get as much as I would prefer to, that I get a baseline in there. And vitamin C, an extended vitamin C release tablet. So that's I'll take usually after breakfast. And then later on in the day, I'll take a zinc with they mixed with they call it holy basil. It's considered holy in India or something like that, but it's something that's been
Hmm.
used for immunity and respiratory health, and they combine the zinc with that in one tablet. I'll take a vitamin D, which also has vitamin K in it to help with the uptake of calcium.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I'll sometimes take another rhodiola tablet, just kind of help with some energy and focus right after lunch. It's not like, it doesn't make me jittery. It's not like, doesn't get me amped or anything like that. It just helps me to not slump off and start to get sleepy. And I just kind of stay very steady throughout the afternoon. And trying to think if there's something else that I take for immune health. Oh, I take a joint health supplement with glucosamine and chondroitin in it.
Okay.
So that's a typical day, and
Wow.
those are the stuff that I take.
Excellent. And then how do you, like, what's your average run?
My
And then, yeah,
average
what's your
run,
short days and your long days? I'm curious.
yeah. So during like the peak of the training season, like a 5K would be my short run, 3 miles. Um, Mondays are like my longish and hardish days where I go maybe like a medium distance, um, at a pace that is challenging for me. So during peak training season, that would be like a 10K, but trying to go, pretty quickly. And then on Tuesday, I'll recover with a slower pace, at like a 5K distance. Wednesdays I take off. Wednesdays I'll often fast. And so
Okay.
Wednesdays are kind of like set aside in that regard. Thursdays are like my short fast days. So like a 1, 2, or 3 mile time trial where it's just like, how fast can I do this today?
Cool.
So that's usually what Thursday looks like. And then Friday's like my long day. Right now it's like 5 miles, but I built that up to like 10 to 12 during training season. And then on Saturday, it's like I came across something somewhere that said that, you want to try to do more 50% or more of your long run mileage the very next day, as a recovery, but it also, because your slow twitch muscles are fatigued, you'll actually end up working some fast twitch muscles even though you're running slow. I don't know if there's much to that, but I mean, the guy was I don't know, cross country. I'm trying to think if he ran or if he coached cross country, like at University of Oregon or something like that. But yeah, he seemed to have some credentials. He seemed to know what he was talking about. So I picked some things up from him. So 5 days a week, that's usually what my running mentality looks like.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I run 12 on Friday, I don't always end up running 6 on Saturday, but try to do at least 3 miles, but then try to get closer to 6 if I can.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah.
How often do you go through shoes then?
How often? The last pair was in. I probably don't switch out my shoes as much as they say to, just because shoes
Mhm.
are expensive.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
At least 9 months though. I think the last pair lasted me. I think yeah, August of last year through June. It's not like 10 months, but
Yeah.
I probably
And
should have switched out sooner, according to many experts.
yeah. Well, I would imagine if you're putting that many miles on, you'd start feeling it in your ankles or your knees or hips or whatever. Do you notice when you get a new pair, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, now I'm feeling better.
I mean, I feel the cushion, like, oh, that feels nice and springy. I do a lot to work on my running form to try to not rely on, especially the padding in the heel. I try very hard not to heel strike. Yeah, I know
Yes.
there's a lot to be said for minimalist running, and that's always intrigued me. But my brother is out, and my brother's a physical therapist, and he's all about the optimal, cushioning for running. Like my brother has a huge amount of influence on the running shoes that I that I wear, and
Yeah.
then
Okay.
has for years. Like a person's gait is even a particular interest for him, even within the PT realm. Um, yeah, like just how a person walks or runs is of, and there's probably a reason for that. There might be a lot of indicators or precursors to, like, oh, this person walks like this, they're going to have this issue with their hips, or that issue with their back or their knees, or whatever it is.
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
so I've definitely paid attention to him, and he was very, very big on Asics for a while, and then more recently, he says that the Adidas Boost have slightly eclipsed um, Asics. So more recently, I've gone with the Adidas Boosts. Before that, it was Asics, but because of my brother.
That's right. I mean, yeah, you can't be proficient in everything, and you need help, right?
Yeah,
So absolutely,
sure.
I get that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, when the things that I learn about, trying to go barefoot or closer to barefoot, and obviously there's a way to do it, building up those muscles in the feet that kind of go to sleep a little bit because they're in a shoe all the time. um, there's a lot there that's compelling, but again, it's one of those things where, like, okay, you know some things, and then how is that going to translate into action, and what's going to have to get derailed because of the way that I've always done things in order to make that switch or that change. Do I give that up in order to pursue this? And then you got some naysayers who are like, I'm not so keen on some of that theory. uh, so that's one of those things where I'm feeling tension between these things that I've learned and that they've made sense, but these other things that have kept me from implementing some of those things that I've learned.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's always interesting because like I think God made us. We believe that God created us, and so
Yeah.
there are certain things that um, our technology
Mhm.
um, can interfere with, for better
Yeah.
or worse,
Right.
right? And so shoes being one of those things. I'm sure, yeah, running barefoot on soft ground is fantastic for you.
Right. Right.
And but I don't want to do it that much, so I'm going to buy shoes.
Or on the
um
concrete.
yeah, yeah, I think yeah, health wise, our technology usually is detrimental, unless you're looking at like um trauma doctors. Like trauma doctors is like the stuff that saves your life in an emergency. But otherwise, I mean, our diets, the way we
Yeah.
sit all the time, the way
Mhm.
what we choose to eat, even that food pyramid that came out when we were kids.
Yeah.
um Everyone is fatter now after that food, after they told us what to eat. We all got fatter.
Yeah.
Very bizarre. Or yeah, the low fat craze, which also causes, I'm a firm believer, causes obesity when you're avoiding fat, and
Huh.
when you're using yeah, like the vegetable oils um
Hmm.
that are highly manufactured are poison,
Hmm.
um and are cause disease. Like our lives cause disease. But so we're made to, yeah, there's that famous book Born to Run, right? And we're made to move, and we're made to move a
Yeah.
lot, and
Hmm.
we don't. And we're made to not eat for periods of time. And most people, the longest they go is maybe 8 hours, you
Yeah.
know, and that's really bad for you. I've I think like the longest I've ever fasted was 6 days.
Wow.
But I've heard that if you can do a 10-day fast a year, that it'll lower your chances of getting cancer.
Really.
Um, that makes sense. Like, so this could be some bro science warning. Put some warnings up,
Yeah.
but it makes sense that, so the autophagy, or I'm not sure. I think that's how you say it. Are you familiar with that? Since you do some fasting, autophagy. Do you know what that is?
I'm
It's
not sure if I'm
cell
familiar.
death. So,
Oh, okay.
um, so when you don't eat for like 18 hours, I mean, technically probably like 15 or something, your body starts breaking down old cells,
Mhm.
and it starts diverting that energy, the energy of processing food, into maintenance. And so the longer
Mm,
you don't eat, you have that autophagy happening. So if you're eating every 8 hours, your body is not going in and breaking down that old stuff that your body should be doing. And so, I mean, even in Christianity and Islam and other faiths, there is traditionally there's fasting.
mhm.
I would say in modern Christianity, there's usually not fasting for some reason, but um, that loss of fasting, I think, is detrimental to us. It's hard because we're not used to it, and we're usually eating ultra processed foods, and that
Yeah.
just makes you hungry totally. So
Yeah.
yeah, anyway, I know you mentioned earlier you wanted to hear a little bit about my 75 hard experience.
Yes, 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 I did. So
Um,
what led
yeah,
you to say, "I'm gonna do that"?
I saw what that is a good question. I'm not sure where. I think I must have. No, I did see a guy I really liked
Mhm.
on Instagram. He was doing it, and I'm like, oh, what is this? And I started looking at it. It was super hard, challenge, super hard
Yeah,
challenge. The challenge is, so I guess I should say that for what it is for
yeah,
people
yeah.
who might not know. So the 75 hard challenge is a 70.5 day program where you exercise 2 times for 45 minutes,
Mhm.
and one of those times has to be outside. You are to drink a gallon of water. You're supposed to go on some kind of diet that fits your nutritional needs, so either gaining or losing or whatever,
Mhm.
and no cheat meals, no alcohol, and oh, and
Is it like yeah,
take a picture of yourself every day. And
yeah,
so you do that every day, and if you miss one thing, you have to start back at day one.
yeah.
And I had to start over. There's many times where I'm like, oh, I'll do it today, and I'm like, no, I don't. But when I've got started, I there were 2 times I messed up, and both times were my picture, like the easiest thing
Oh,
to do.
really? Oh, no.
What the first time I made it to 16 days, I was I forgot, and then I think I made it to day 28,
Mhm.
and I totally forgot. And what's funny is one of those days, I can't remember if it was the day 16 or day 28. My wife asked me, and she didn't usually ask me, but she's like, "Oh, have you done everything on for 75 hard?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I haven't taken my picture." And she's like, "Well, do you have a list?" I'm like, "Yeah, I have an app," and I go in and I test it, and then I rolled over. We were in bed talking. I was like, and then I fell asleep. I was exhausted. I just fell asleep.
Oh, no.
Um, I know. The day 16. I thought it was funny. Day 28, when I had started over and went to day 28, I was mad.
Yeah.
But I wanted the reason I chose to do this is I know that. Hold on, I'm having some technical difficulties here. Just a second.
No, no worries.
My earbuds were not fully charged. Okay. All right. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Great. So uh, grit. I wanted some more grit,
Mhm.
and it is the only way to get grit is to do hard things.
Yeah, for sure.
So, like you run doing distance runnings is a way to enhance your grit. And
Yeah.
so I decided I didn't want to run far, so I do 75 hard, and it was very challenging. It was very good. Like I remember day 50 feeling like I could do anything. Like I really felt like if I could do this, I could do anything. And it's
Yeah,
true. If you're
right.
consistent, right, on anything, you can achieve so much. But I remember the last 10 days were so I was crawling. Like I was just
Oh, man.
I wasn't doing anything impressive with with exercising, I just walk. I would just go and walk for 45 minutes. I was just like, I can't do anything. I was so tired and exhausted, but I did it. I did
Yes.
it. I
Yes.
was so happy. And then the next part, the program goes on. There's like a 75 year hard like year. You can do a full year program. And so 75 hard is just the first part
Oh
of
man.
it. And then there's
That's what
75.
I'm afraid of.
Yeah, there's phase 1, 2, and 3. And you have to accomplish 75 hard, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, all in 1 year.
Mhm.
And like phase 1, you add a 5-minute cold shower,
Mhm.
and then 8 critical tasks. So you just basically like, what are 8 things I need to get done tomorrow to be, you know, work on my business or whatever.
Sure.
And then, and if you mess up, you have to start back a day. That one's only 30 days. You have to start over again.
Oh.
And then one of them, I think it might be phase 2, you have to meet someone new every day.
Oh wow.
I think that's a 30 or 45 day.
Mhm.
Um, and you can't just be like saying hi to someone. You have to like go up and talk to them and get to know their name and stuff like that. Have a
Mhm.
conversation. I like that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
But the fun thing is, the hard thing is the phase 3. You need to start a month before you hit your year anniversary of starting 75 hard.
Mhm.
And if you screw it up, you have to start over at day 1 of 75. Oh my goodness. So I haven't decided yet. I'm like, I haven't started phase 1 yet. So it's
Yeah,
been
yeah.
about a month since I've done 75 hard. So
Okay. Very cool.
yeah.
Are there also is there also like 10 pages of reading a day?
Oh yes, thank you. Yes, 10 pages of reading. That was awesome.
A
Like I highly
nonfiction book.
recommend that. Yeah, nonfiction book, 10 pages a day. Really, that is a fantastic habit.
Mhm.
Highly recommend. So a lot of the habits, if you just want to challenge yourself, like reading 10 pages a day of
Yeah,
nonfiction is highly recommended. So
for
yeah,
sure.
one of my favorite books from 75 hard was The Obstacle is the Way.
Okay.
Have you heard of that one?
I think just because I saw you post something about it.
Oh, it's stoic, like a stoic book. So it's based on
Okay.
a lot of stoicism. Really enjoyed that. Um, I read It's Good to Be a Man. Highly
Okay.
recommend that book. It's so
Yeah.
awesome. I'm not sure. I can't remember all the books I read, but those two really stick out. So it's good books.
Yeah. And I think it's just a good, someone can take it and adapt it if they really want to, and just take whatever habits that they are really wanting to implement and force themselves to do something hard and make sure that it's meaningful for them. But I do think that it's sometimes it's a good way to maybe discover some habits that maybe you weren't thinking about, and have somebody else who's taken, whoever started it, taking whatever experience that they have and putting these valuable habits in place. And here's this challenge, and do it in a way to kind of call people up and like, hey, this isn't for everybody. To only do this if
It's
you're
not,
serious. And it
yeah.
makes guys like us go, oh, maybe I should do that. When it's not sugar coated, when it's not
Yeah.
sweet sold to you, like, oh yeah, give this a shot, it's not that big a deal, you'll knock it right out or whatever. But just, hey, this is hard, buckle up if you're gonna come hard or don't come at all. And we go, okay,
Yeah.
all right, yeah, that makes me want to do it more.
Yeah. Well, and we're so much more capable than we think. And
Yeah.
it's, we really do. Usually the average person sells themselves so short.
Hmm.
And um, that's why I said I felt like I could do anything when I was like in day 50 or something, because it
Right.
was, what, I heard somebody say like confidence is, um, you get confidence from proving to yourself, like, like, um,
Yeah.
doing, being able to trust yourself to do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
So when you say I'm going to do this thing and you do it, you build confidence.
Hmm.
And that, I think that's absolutely true.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes me think about the lack of confidence that so many people have these days, potentially being tied to our non-committal society. You know, like we don't want to
Yeah.
be tied down to this or that. We like to keep our options free, and whether it's with really big stuff like marital relationships, or just something small like I'm going to commit to doing this hard thing for 75 days in a row and commit to not missing one. And um, yeah, I think we have a fear of commitment, and we have a lack of confidence, because
That
we
makes
don't
sense.
see ourselves putting ourselves out there. I mean, we like to play things. I've been like this too. Like yeah, I'm going to do this, or I want to do this, but I'm going to keep it secret. Like I don't need to go around telling other people that I'm going to go do this, because it's just for me. But when I start posting on social media, like, hey, I have this goal, like I'm going to try to do this, I'm going to enter this race, and this is what I'm shooting for, this is what I'm going to try to work for, it can come across as bragging. But one, it hopefully inspires people, it educates people, and
Yeah.
here's what I'm planning to do, here's what I'm putting in place to try to meet that goal, this is what it looks like, this is the daily consistency that it takes in order to do something like that. But for me, it's like I told a bunch of people that I'm going to do this, I guess I better do it now.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, that helps.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if nothing else, there's plenty of selfish benefit from having that kind of
Yeah.
public accountability, and just putting stuff out there and saying, I'm going to do this. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm shooting for. This is what I'm doing to try to accomplish it. Um, and yeah, so it's been over a year of that consistency on that level, from a social media standpoint for me. And I would say that I've gained quite a bit from it, and would continue to, continuing to do so for sure.
Hmm.
Well, are there any other questions that I can answer for you in terms of supplements? I know like that was the initial thing that you had
Yeah.
contacted me about, and I had the idea to kind of go a little bit bigger, and turn the conversation into a podcast episode, which is kind of become an MO of mine. And I'm always a little bit nervous about it, because I don't want people to think that I just mine them for content or things like that. But it's just like,
Yeah.
it's just thinking in terms of, oh, this could be helpful, this could be beneficial, um, either for the other person because you get a chance to talk about your business, or for the
Yeah.
people that are going to listen because they get to hear not just about supplements, but they also get to hear about some of these mindset things, and they get to come along the ride with me, and get to know some other cool people. But anyway, the question that I had asked and then trailed off on are there any other supplement questions that you had, that you were thinking about, wondering about today?
I think there was a great start. And I'm gonna keep following you, and I enjoy your content. I did want to make a suggestion that
Mhm.
I got I found like I learned this idea of teach, learn, share.
Mhm.
No, that's backwards.
Learn,
Learn, teach, share, something. I don't know.
learn,
Um,
share, teach.
Forget that. I'll just tell you what um, that and I've kind of done it for a while, but I like the way this guy was talking about it. But he was saying, like, since you're reading books already, you
Mhm.
should be sharing it with people in
Mhm.
a shareable way. Always like, so I started reading again. I started reading Win the Day,
Mm.
and great book. And so I made a live, and then I made a reel using that content. So it
Yeah.
helped me it's helping me to remember the content
Mm. Mhm.
that I read, or the book that I read, and then I get to share it with other people.
Yeah.
And because a lot of people aren't going to read it, they're just not.
Mhm.
So I can help them by sharing some of it and get some credibility also in that. So I
Sure.
highly recommend just keep sharing what you're learning
Mhm.
with people. I enjoy your some of your preaching stuff that you post when you're
Oh yeah.
teaching kids and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So
Cool.
yeah, well, Yeah, thank you for
Yeah.
spending some time with me this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anyone is listening and they're like, hey, that coaching program sounds really cool, where can they go to learn more or get in touch with you? If you're like, hey, I like that guy. I'd like to be coached by a guy like that.
Well, that would be awesome. What the best way to do it is look me up on Facebook, Forrest Dawkins.
Okay.
I believe I'm the only one. You can just find the guy who looks like me.
Yeah. With
Um,
two R's, right?
two R's. That's right.
Yeah.
Forrest Dawkins. I think that's my Facebook profile is just it's Forrest Dawkins.
Yeah.
Facebook
And if and
slash
if
Forrest.
and if you happen to be listening, you're not watching this on YouTube, you'll just have to trust that Forrest Dawkins with two R's is the only one there when you do the search.
That's right.
Or you can go
Yes.
to YouTube and find out what he looks like. At Output Habit on that's the channel on YouTube if you haven't checked that out yet. All right. Well, thanks, Forrest. This has been awesome. It was cool to hear some of the background. I watched a bit of your 75 hard journey. Again, not, I guess, at a distance. Um, there's a sense in which you're farther from somebody, but maybe in some ways, sometimes closer to somebody if you're following what they're posting on social media, depending on what they're posting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that I have friends around the country now who watch what I do, and like they know things about me that someone who I have a relationship with here in Fond du Lac, if they don't follow me online, they're not going to know about me if they're not seeing what I post. So there's kind of an interesting dynamic there, one way or the other. But anyway, I got to hear more about your mindset behind that and hear about what you're doing, and so that's going to make watching your content even more interesting going forward, and hopefully vice versa.
Yeah.
And if you have
Absolutely.
other questions, if there's anything I can ever do to help in the realm of supplements or anything like that, always happy to. If you want any samples, I can send you samples. I've got samples of like my hydrate, my pre-workout. I mail those out to people who are like, yeah, I'd like to try that. I can do that as well sometime. But anyway, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend with your family. And those 5 kids. I didn't hear a one of them. I heard
Yeah,
mom.
that was impressive.
I didn't hear any kids in the background. Not that that would have been a bad thing, but I was definitely hearing my kids. I don't know if you did or not, but
Yeah.
these microphones I think are smart. Like they know what to pick up and what not to. It is crazy how they can do that. But anyway, hope you have a great rest of your weekend,
Yeah, you
Forrest,
too.
and
Thank
we'll
you.
have to do this again sometime.
Right. Thanks, Mark.
Yep. All right. Bye.
See ya.